Welcome to Balance by Sophie's Patch at the Royal Adelaide show. We're doing a video to give you an idea of what the garden looks like as you walk around it, and also give a bit of background as to how this garden came about. Each year I get invited to create a show garden, and rather than just make it a pretty garden, I've always got a message I want to bring home. And this message about balance in the garden is because as I drive around our cities, I get concerned about a lack of balance. We've got urban infill happening where one house is being demolished and 4 or 5 houses are being put in its place. We've got more hard surfaces. We tend to pave small areas because we don't know what to do with them. And as our climate gets hotter and harsher, this is something that concerns me. So this garden is designed to give you inspiration and information on what you can do to green up your outdoor space and cool it down. Now I just wish that my home office looked this good. Now, if you've only got a small space, often it's a bit hard to know what to do with it. So within this garden, even though the whole garden is quite big, I've got lots of small areas designed to give you ideas. So this space here is about 3 metres by 3 metres. And it's where I've got a lot of native plants. I've got a few exotics squeezed in there, but it's all about creating habitat for wildlife and biodiversity. So we've got places where native bees could come, we've got plants for butterflies, we've got all sorts of things. So it's all about having biodiversity in our backyard. Now as we walk around, another thing that really concerns me about the urban spaces is the lack of shade. Now in summer, Adelaide had our hottest day ever last year, 47 degrees. It was a scorcher. And yet if you've got shade created by trees or vines, you can cool that space down and make it more livable. Now I'm inside, so how do I show that? I've got some large trees, and these are deciduous trees, because deciduous trees on the hot sides of your house let the precious winter sunshine in, and then they cool you down in summer. Now I'd also love to show you a vine-covered pergola, but how can you do that inside when it's totally fake? So instead, I've woven the pergola covers with vines. This one's woven with grapevine, the other one's woven with wisteria. But you can imagine if you actually had grapevines or wisterias growing over a pergola, how cool and shady and gorgeous looking it would be. Now, whatever your space, I'm passionate about chooks, and you can have chooks in a small space. So they just add a bit of fun and movement down here. And over in the background, you can even see that there's a compost bin. And I've got a sign there that it's the garden's engine room. Because not only is it important to have shade, having beautiful soil is important too. Rather than paving all our backyards, we need to make sure that we can let the rain soak down into the ground and recharge. You'll see the symbol as you walk around this garden. There's lots of ladybirds. And there's a reason for that. Because as far as I'm concerned, ladybirds are a symbol of balance. We're not looking for no pests in our garden. We're looking for a situation where the good guys manage the bad guys. And how do you get ladybirds in your garden? Well, firstly, you actually plant for them. You plant flowers that they love, things like daisies and umbels and alyssum, and they'll come in for the nectar and pollen, and then they'll manage your insect pests. Now, another thing that's really important to me is to have information that people can take home. So we've got lots of signage in this garden. Actually, possibly a bit too much, but that's because I'm so passionate about getting the message across. And we've also got brochures. Now, if you can't make it down to the show, you can download that brochure from sophiespatch.com.au, and it's got a lot more information on it. Now, it's all about showing ideas for small spaces, so we can see how lush spaces can be. We've also got lots of climbing plants trying to show that we can soften the walls and cool it down. And I'm also passionate about produce. So if you only had a small space and you wanted to grow a fruit tree, espalier is a great idea. Now, they're bare at the moment because they're dormant, but hopefully over the course of the show, they'll come into leaf and flower and look fantastic. Now here, we've created a fake back room of a house. I wish my lounge room looked that good, but we've put a lot of indoor plants in, and there's a reason for that. If you've only got a small outdoor space, what you can do is you can actually bring the garden inside by having indoor plants. And it makes this seamless transition and looks fantastic. But having plants inside is really therapeutic too. It cleans the air and takes out all the volatile organic chemicals that are not good for us. And it also makes you feel happier and healthier. So it's perfect. So indoor plants are really important, and you can see how many we've jammed into that space. We're coming down here. This is my favourite part of the garden because it's about the produce. We've got flowers, we've got veggies, we've got edible flowers, and we've got fruit trees. You can see I've got more espaliers on the wall, I've got citrus on the back. Citrus are a great way to help cool down our spaces because they'll take radiant heat off things like fences that can be quite harsh. And then we've got lots and lots of veggies because in a small space you can still be highly productive. Now I'm totally biased. I put bees in the background there. You don't have to have your own beehive, but certainly try and make sure that your garden is bee friendly by having lots of flowers for bees, because bees are a sign of a healthy environment as well. And there's no veggies and no fruit, or not quite 100%, but certainly they're really important for veggies and fruit. And they're a delight in the garden, whether they're native or otherwise. Now down here, because it is the Royal Adelaide Show, we try and have things that are a bit over the top. And this is my pumpkin palace. And while I can't have pumpkins growing over it, because we're inside and it's the wrong time of year, I brought a collection of my pumpkins that I've grown from my place here. And you'll also see that there's a compost bin and a worm farm, and they're there deliberately because you certainly don't grow beautiful big pumpkins like this without having fantastic soil. And all that food waste and garden scraps we produce, we need to compost to enrich our soil. So I've got these veggies here. It's a bit of fun, but there's a serious message behind it too. So whether you can make it down here to see balance at the Royal Adelaide Show or you can't, please make sure you grab a flyer, read up on it, and think about what you can do to create balance in your patch.